Welcome back to Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and that is Dylan. And we're your home for talking about TV shows and movies related to the superhero culture or just movies and TV shows in general that we enjoy here on this channel in a podcast format. Discussions, analytical reviews, and Easter eggs and theories, they're all right here because why not have three more guys sitting around talking about the industry?
Hey! There you have it.
Never have your home be empty of voices. Always have people. Never feel lonely. That's what we're here for.
If you want to join the Absolute Army, please consider pressing like, subscribe, and turning on your notifications. And if you enjoy video game discussions, join me and Dylan over at Absolutely PlayStation Esteem Gamers, where we move all of our Marvel video game rants too. He has a lot.
Let's talk about Avengers a lot, because there's a lot happening with that game.
All right, so today we're going to talk about... Okay, so we've been doing a thing where there's no Marvel shows going on, so we've been filling every week with us reviewing one of the older shows. And Dylan, this is your worst pick ever. I preferred Spider-Man like 70s or whatever that was. Like, this is terrible. This is horrendous.
I didn't make this show.
Iron Man 94. Like, it
Iron
was...
Man 94.
What is this show?
It's...
This show is bizarre.
It's actually kind of funny because, like, Iron Man, you know... Ladies and gentlemen, if you're interested in seeing what Iron Man was like before he became a AAA property in movies and then later in comics as a result, I show you Iron Man 94, where he was a D-list superhero who needed to be kept afloat via ForceWorks.
Yup.
ForceWorks was a comic book back in the day. It featured a cavalcade of characters nobody cared about at that time, including Ghost and...
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye,
Spider-Woman,
Witch,
but not the one you
Julia
like.
Carpenter.
Julia Carpenter, Spider-Woman.
Yeah. And War Machine, and it was a show, and it's part of the Marvel Action Hour. Two different shows, Fantastic Four and Iron Man. Both shows that when they first launched were horrible. I would argue great voice cast, but terrible nonetheless. And then after the first season, they threw both shows away, retooled them, changed the animation, and got better. I honestly feel like Iron Man is the lesser of the two in terms of getting better. Fantastic Four had a better resurgence, but this show, woof. But it was just there to sell action figures anyway, which it did. If you ever go check it out, everything that Iron Man turns into in the opening credits of this show is an action figure.
Okay, so I want to talk about the opening credits first. There's two big things that I noticed that just made this show bizarre.
Yeah.
The opening credits of this one went through the entire cast, including the reoccurring villains.
Yes.
Like every villain.
Mostly them is what is shown.
Mostly them. Like Hypnotia, classic Marvel character. Everybody loves them.
The second big thing I noticed about this one, other than everything else we're probably going to talk about in a minute, this was made by some very horny animators.
Oh,
because there are so many butt shots of women. Like, the first thing I noticed
I did
is
not
like
notice that.
In the very first episode, go back to the physical therapy's opening scene with Tony. And it's ongoing. But it also starts panning around the physical therapist's butt.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's where it opens, going around her butt. Then it's a long con to a sex joke.
Yeah.
About getting it all over Rhodey.
By the way,
well, it's an Iron Man show. You need
building off of that. It is. Iron Man's the horniest Marvel hero of all time. But I will toss out there
exists.
X-Men. Yeah. But in the same vein, there was an Incredible Hulk cartoon show, and in the She-Hulk debut episode, that's the horniest Marvel cartoon. Let's just say that Jen Walters really likes turning into She-Hulk.
But the thing that for me that cemented it was made by horny animators is it that opening scene, because I could have written that up to be one of those like, wow, they put a sex joke into one of the kids' cartoons. Cool, whatever.
They sure do. Yeah.
But later, who's the really strong female villain? There's a scene that this is where I decided this is made by the horniest animators ever. It's Mandarin talking to all the villains.
Yes.
And dead center on the scene is her, ripped glutes. And it just stays there for, 15 seconds of the speech.
Yeah. It's probably Hypnotia.
I think it was Hypnotia.
Yeah. Oof.
And I'm just sitting here, I'm like, holy crap, we got to watch more shows from when I was a kid that I didn't know what it fully meant.
Yeah.
Well, I think, to be fair, I think the animation budget for this show was like $2 and a box of saltines.
I think it was $1.50.
So, like,
yeah,
they're gonna draw what they want to draw and then hold on that as long as they can.
Yes, and reuse it as much as possible. Oh,
Yup.
yeah, no, that was a shoestring budget. Doesn't even begin to qualify what the show looks
Wait,
like.
what was the transformation into Iron Man that cut to reboot levels of
Yes,
CG animation? And
Well,
then cuts back.
The
me
90s CG is so good.
That's the money shot for them. They love that CG transformation sequence. They're like, and they use it every time Iron Man needs to transform in the show. They will just cut to him going CG, doing the whole thing from the opening credits, and then cut back to animation. Now that's par for the course back then. They like to kind of blend it, especially if they couldn't afford it. Skeleton Warriors, Bots Master, etc. But yes, this was I love that CG. By the way, I will say again, midway through the series, because apparently on Disney Plus it's just one season. It's like however many episodes. After episode 13, animation changes, and we drop the CG, and we get a better theme song, because the theme song for this show
Great theme song.
Oh, I think it's horrible.
I love it.
Organ in there. It's
so stupid.
It's gizmos and like weird machinery and like this awful arrhythmic. It's just horrible. Horrible. The next one, at least, it's just an adaptation of Iron Man. It's just basically.
Well, that's what I was saying is great. The first one's weird.
Oh,
the season 2 theme song is great.
We got to do Fantastic Four, because the theme song for the Fantastic Four, which is part of the Marvel Action Hour, so it's still technically relevant. It's the biggest earworm you'll ever get. Is that first Fantastic Four theme song? Anyway, this show sucks, and but I do feel bad because like everyone's giving it their all. This is one of those shows. You know what this is? You know what Iron Man 94 is? It's emblematic of the X-Men Batman animated series effect. Batman the animated series changes the game, blows the doors off of TV, cartoon, superhero animation. X-Men animated series comes out. They're like, we could do on like a kind of like light budget a soap opera, and like just characters standing around talking to each other, maybe a couple of action sequences. Yeah, just people being people, and the children will eat it up. And it was a huge success. You know, the folk making the Marvel Action Hour like, replicate that success. Do that again. Just melodrama, ratchet it up to 11, plus a couple of like action figure teases. Obviously, with all the supervillains and all the costume transformation sequences, Iron Man has a great power in this show. He can like turn his armor into other armors.
Yeah.
I sometimes with the help of a robot and sometimes without.
Sometimes just but with magic.
I watched episode 1 and the second to last episode because it said Hulk in the title.
Yeah.
And Dylan, you watched 2 episodes on each season, right? Like that's what you did. I watched those 2 and I'm like, I'm done with this.
I watched
like,
the 3-part Armor Wars adaptation.
Oh.
Which, by the way, is like oddly accurate, like weirdly accurate.
Interesting.
And then it's not. Like it takes liberties, but like the controllers in it, I'm like, wow. Anyway.
I was just curious if anyone has an answer to this. Why is the Mandarin green?
Because he can't be yellow. That's why.
Yeah, I was like, that's like it's worse somehow that they made him a goblin.
Well,
like,
I like that for the entirety of the series. It's him looking for the rings.
Oh my god, the
seasons.
whole show! No, you want to talk about Marvel post-credit scenes? The Mandarin owns the patent on Marvel post-credit scenes, because every episode of the first season is the Mandarin going to some place and getting another ring. And he's like, I gotta get all 10 rings. And then, spoilers by the way, he gets them all and loses in the episode he gets them all in.
Like, that's why he's looking at season 2 for the same thing, because he went over and took it for like a time capsule thing. It was so weird.
Yeah, no.
I might have watched this out of order, because the first 2 episodes of season 1 I watched, I think he already had them.
Oh yeah, he has them, and then he loses them, and then the rest of the series is him looking for more is getting them back. Then he gets them back, and then loses to Iron Man, and it's just.
And then the next season is him trying to get him back again.
I don't even think they worry about it anymore.
From what I saw of season 2, he was like, I forget how it happened, but I think it happened in episode 1 of season 2. But in the second episode, he's just like some guy. He just doesn't have anything, and he's like walking around in a desert.
Yeah.
And he's still a goblin.
That's my image of the Mandarin every time I think about him. There's two images of the Mandarin I have. One is him like dressed in like a trench coat and a hat, like infiltrating different places and being like, I need this ring, and like pretending to gamble or barter for it and then just stealing it and leaving because he's a jerk. And then the other version of the Mandarin is the action figure of this version of the Mandarin, which is just a great figure. He's got all the rings, a lot of detail.
Nice.
Well, so I watched the second season Hulk episode.
Okay, how did you like it?
Not any better. One thing I've noticed, and I remember this from a lot of these old cartoons, why is it Banner also has to be incredibly ripped? Like, it's like, oh, I'm gonna Hulk out. Oh, like
you don't need to Hulk out. You're already shredded.
Yeah, he's like shredded beyond belief.
Yeah. I will say, by the way, crossover with the Hulk cartoon show, same voice.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
And then
That is something that I was wondering about, because the season opens similar to all the shows we've been talking about. They don't explain anything.
No.
And I'm like, is this, because I knew it was part of the Marvel Action Hour and that there were a lot of other Marvel shows going on at the time. So I was like, are some of these characters, do we already know them from other shows? Or I don't think so. But
Well, the Hulk episode explains his origins, because the whole episode is that Iron Man might prevent the Hulk from becoming the Hulk.
Yeah.
Only to not. Like, that's literally
hard to believe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I found that one hilarious because it like kicks off with like, I guess Julia's important, or somebody of importance.
Julia's super important. She's Tony Stark's like fiance / would-be wife in this show, which is like,
oh, because she gets zapped at the beginning, and he's like, Julia, and I'm like,
yeah,
Julia.
She's the only one that at the end of season 2, episode 1, they like everyone from ForceWorks leaves except for Julia and Rhodey, because Tony Stark fakes his own death, and they're all like, we don't like that, we're upset. It's like such a flimsy reason.
That's so great. I also love that because they're really upset, and like there's a lot of melodrama, a lot of heavy acting from poor Jennifer Hale, who plays Julia Carpenter, who's just always yelling at Tony or browbeating him or like crossing her arms and tapping her foot and looking cross. Such a diminishing of that character.
I have a question for both of you. Who the hell is Hardwire? Like the Jarvis wannabe?
Oh, Homer. Yes.
Homer.
Yeah, I love him. He's great.
Like, I thought he was Jarvis, and they're like, oh, it's Homer. And like the episode on the Hulk, Rhodey's making jokes about getting him dismantled, and I'm just like, who is this guy? Like,
right? Yeah, Homer, heuristically operative matrix emulation rostrum, was from the comic books, was originally created in 1993, less than a year before they started the show. Like, this was a show where they went, whatever's happening in Iron Man right now in the comic books. Like, I think the second episode is the villain they drop in the like 300th issue of Iron Man. Like, it's
Ultimo
just the suit. Yeah, Ultimo. It's just the suit and the villain are from the issue of Iron Man 300. It's just like whatever's happening in Iron Man, make that the cartoon. He's on ForceWorks, put them all in there. Hawkeye 2. Everybody.
I like that in the first episode. Hawkeye's one line. One line, he changes the TV, and he's like, it's something about, well, that was boring. That's his only line. Like,
it's like, I'm looking for a football game. Meanwhile, they're like on a mission. It's like, what are you doing, Hawkeye?
Yeah. Oh, no, I
loved that, because I'm like, is Hawkeye here just to change the channel? Is that the whole reason he's here today?
Hawkeye shows up. Also, Scarlet Witch is there. And she, in the second episode I watched, she like has to cast a spell to figure out where Ultimo is or something, and it's just the actress saying nonsense into a microphone, and they animate her hands going like this. It's like, woobada wabada, I'm gonna find you. It's like, what is this?
You could tell they just didn't care. They were just well, because it's produced by Avi Arad and Perlmutter. It's just an action figure commercial. Toy Biz had controlling interest in Marvel at this time. They're looking for commercials to sell action figures. If you look at the action figure line from Iron Man, the animated series, every character you see has a figure. All of them.
I'm gonna collect them now.
You should.
I'm gonna make my Iron Man 94 action figure collection.
I wish I had more of them. I really do. I should point out, by the way, when I mentioned that the Hulk was a crossover, in fact, it's a spinoff of this show. This is the Hulk in his first debut in this animated universe. Then in '96, they launched the Incredible Hulk show, which is a dope opening credit, and also it's a Hulk show. So like, if you like Hulk, it's pretty much the same thing. But
okay,
yeah, and they're all part of the same cinematic universe, by the way, because we know in a Saint Elsewhere-esque, like, tangentially connected thing. We got Iron Man, part of the Fantastic Four Marvel Action Hour, so we know that Fantastic Four and Iron Man, same universe. Hulk spins out of that. That's 3 cartoons. Then, the guy who plays Iron Man in this show voices Iron Man in Spider-Man, the animated series, which has a crossover with the X-Men animated series.
So they were doing this before it was a thing.
This is, for title reasons,
blueprint.
the original Marvel Cinematic Universe.
There it is.
Because this is before DC was doing their thing with Batman, Superman, and then spinning things into each other.
Batman had arrived. I think Superman came around this time and was like just destroying them in terms of animation and storytelling and budget. But it's just Batman and Superman. Like, yeah, Flash showed up. I think Green Lantern's in a Superman episode, but like, they didn't have shows.
Right.
You know, it was just the Batman Superman show. That's it. Justice League wouldn't come until 2000. So, yeah. No, it's huge. Marvel was really, like, big on their interconnected universe even back then.
Like, talking about this being the original MCU or sort of the blueprint for it, like, season 2, visually speaking, is very close to Iron Man 2008. Because they've got, like, even down to the room where all of his suits are in, they're all, like, in that, like, U-shaped glass, like gallery case.
Yeah, gallery case. Yeah.
You've got Homer, who's just like Jarvis, but
just Jarvis.
Snappier. Like, you know, there's a lot going on in that. Which also, I think season 2 is much better than what I saw of season 1.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, it is not called season 2 on Disney Plus. It's just after episode 13.
Oh, is it not?
There. It's not.
No, that's what. Yeah, he's like, oh, you gotta at least watch 1 in season 2, because I was just gonna watch the intro one, and like it was so bad, I'm like, I'm not watching anymore.
I know, you were like, no, and I'm like, dude, I promise the animation gets better in the next one. You're like, there is no season 2.
Yeah, and I was like, so that's what I asked. Like, so I just went to one of the last episodes. I'm like, if this is all combined into one season,
weird.
then I was like, the second to last episode says Hulk. I'll probably like that one than a 40. And Hulk was better. I will give you that. Hulk was better than the first episode.
And hey, I know for a fact, I think Hulkbuster is in that episode, right, Benny?
It is. It's not good.
It is not exactly like Age of Ultron, unfortunately.
No. To kick it all off, part of the fun of that is they're like, that episode, they bring in the Hulkbuster, and they're all fighting it out and everything like that. But Hulk and Iron Man aren't even actually there. They're thrown back in time, so they're dealing with their own thing at the time.
What?
That's right. Yeah, they go back in time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
The Mandarin ring sends them back to the Hulk's origin, where for some reason Julia is just falling off of a cliff.
Yes.
Like she went missing, Dylan, okay? Mm-hmm. And when they find her, she's literally hanging off a cliff. Tony! Like,
does she ever become Spider-Woman again after season 2?
Season 2? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I got, because she in all of the second episode, she is just in a business suit.
Well, she's
completely unrecognizable.
But Pepper Potts wasn't in most of the Marvel comics back then, so they needed a Pepper Potts character to fit in. Here's a redhead.
So since I didn't know that it was the same Spider-Woman, I didn't until you literally just said that. Julia, he gets married to her. To me, seeing her appear as a Spider-Woman and then seeing this version that gets zapped and he yells out, I thought it was the standard damsel in distress girlfriend.
Right.
No.
Are they?
No, they're the same character.
Yeah, okay. I thought they were different characters. They didn't click till now.
Yeah, no, she should have spider powers. Like,
so the spider-powered girl is dangling with no explanation how she got there.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's not like Hulk and Iron Man go back in time and then they run into her and then she goes missing. They assume she's dead, which I also am. Why did they keep assuming she's dead when they survived the time travel? But whatever, they're assuming she's dead. They're not even looking for her. Yeah, they're not even looking for her, and then you just see Tony, help! And she's just dangling off a cliff. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I guess that's where Julia went.
I have in its defense, a little bit. It is kind of fun when you're watching this show as a kid to see all these characters interact with each other on the screen. You're like, hey, wow, like this, look at this. It's anyone can show up. Anyone.
Like, yeah.
And that's a thought that I have, like, with all of these shows that we've been watching, is these do just feel like auto AI generated shows. Like you fed comic books through a machine, and this is what it spit out. And it's like this show just exists. Nobody made it. It just happened.
Nobody made it
to me. No. Somebody discovered this one day, and they aired it.
So, last verdict. Are we going to go back to this show later?
No.
Oh.
No.
Oh no, I don't want.
I am
anyone
having
to-
a lot of fun with Dylan's experiment here, though. I am, because a lot of these I vaguely remember watching when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So for me, it was just kind of like, oh, this is fun. Why did I like this? Like,
Right. Yeah. No. But I'm telling you, those figures were fire. So check them out.
All right. Well, we're absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny. That is Sal. That is Dylan. Make sure you like, subscribe, and join the Absolute Army. And if you want to hear us talking about video games, go check me and Dylan out over at Absolutely PlayStation and Steam Gamers. Join the Absolute Army. Join the Absolute brand. Podcasts, discussions, analytical reviews. You name it, we do it. We love chatting. It's kind of like our business. Thank you.